जयो विश्वपात्रमं सपरिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। जयो विश्वपात्रमं सपरिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवत पुराण की जय। श्री गुरु और गौरांग की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. We are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 17, text number 41. That's not the wrong verse. 41. अथैतानि न सेवेता बुभूषुः पुरुषः क्वचित् विशेषतो धर्मशीलो राजा लोकपतिर्गुरुः। अथैतानि न सेवेता बुभूषुः पुरुषः क्वचित् विशेषतो धर्मशीलो राजा लोकपतिर्गुरुः। अथैतानि न सेवेता बुभूषुः पुरुषः क्वचित् विशेषतो धर्मशीलो राजा लोकपतिर्गुरुः।
अथैतानि न सेवेत पुरुषः क्वचित् विशेषतो धर्मशीलो राजा लोकपतिर्गुरुः अथैतानि न सेवेत पुरुषः क्वचित् विशेषतो धर्मशीलो राजा लोकपतिर्गुरुः अथैतानि न सेवेत पुरुषः क्वचित् विशेषतो धर्मशीलो राजा लोकपतिर्गुरुः
therefore etani all these never seveta come in contact vibhushuhu those who desire well-being purushah person kvachit in any circumstance visheshatah specifically dharmashilah those who are on the progressive path of liberation raja the king lokapatiho public leader guruhu the brahmanas and the sannyasis translation and purport by His Divine C.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Therefore, whoever desires progressive well-being, especially kings, religionists, public leaders, brahmanas, sannyasis, should never come in contact with the four above mentioned irreligious principles. The brahmanas or the religious preceptors for all other castes and the sannyasis are the spiritual masters for all the castes and orders of the society. So also are the king and the public leaders who are responsible for the material welfare of all people, the progressive religionists and those who are responsible human beings, or those who don't want to spoil their valuable human lives should refrain from all the principles of irreligiosity, especially illicit connection with women. If a brahmana is not truthful, all his claims as a brahmana at once becomes null and void. If a sannyasi is illicitly connected with a woman, all his claims as a sannyasi at once becomes false. Similarly, if the king and the public leader are unnecessarily proud or habituated to drinking and smoking, certainly they become disqualified to discharge public welfare activities. Truthfulness is the basic principle for all religions. The four leaders of the human society, namely sannyasis, brahmanas, king, and the public leader, must be tested crucially by their character and qualification. Before one can be accepted as a spiritual or a material master of the society, he must be tested by the above-mentioned criteria for character. Such public leaders may be less qualified in academic qualifications, but it is necessary primarily that they be free from the contamination of the four disqualifications, namely gambling, drinking, prostitution, and animal slaughter. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषाच्यदेशकारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्युषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, with the blessings of all their lordship and Shri Amita, Shri Prabhupada, and Shri Radha and all the acharyas and all the assembled devotees and all the seniors. I would like to whatever I've heard or whatever I've read, I would like to share. I happen to because especially in this case, so much emphasis is given as to how a person who is taking the great responsibility, means all the people, especially here it is mentioned Raja, Lokapati, Guru, or any person who is taking great responsibility, how he must have great qualification before he takes such a great responsibility. I happened to hear one incident. There was one king who was not having a son, and he was becoming very much. It was bothering for him that because it is a great responsibility also to create that legacy. Whatever he has established, somebody has to take care of it, even after he passes away. So he was this continuously it was bothering him, and finally he was then dealing with all the ministers and everyone. He understood that he will not be able to have a son, but instead he can take somebody else's and he can adopt a son, and then eventually he can be trained, and then he can become a future king. So then what happened? He announced throughout his kingdom. He announced that anybody we are wanting to choose a future king for our country. So please, now for that so many people started applying, and so they are all small kids, because he wanted to take a small kid and train him, and then he would become a future king. So he gave a small task to all of them. He said that he would be giving them all of them a plant and a pot, and so he said you need to sow this plant in the pot, and no, he did not give a plant. He gave them seeds. All of them he gave seeds, and then different seeds he gave, and then a pot with mud and everything he gave, and he told you come back after 6 months, and whoever has taken care of this plant very nicely, and whoever pot has a very beautiful and a very good grown plant, lushy green plant, then they will be awarded the next training to become a king. So this is what he announced, and all the kids were also were very happy, and they went back, and after 6 months, all these small kids they brought different plants. Some had very thick plant, and some had very beautiful with flowers and everyone. But one student had come. He did not have. He had no plant in the pot, but he had just brought a pot. But all others were having very beautiful pots with different flowers. And the king asked everyone, and he saw everyone's plant, and he was appreciating everyone. And finally, he made an announcement that who is going to be the winner of this contest. He said that finally, it is this boy who had brought a pot with no plant. And he said he is the one who is chosen. And everyone was shocked. We have done so much efforts. We have watered, and we have taken care with all good care, but the king is not accepting our hard work and efforts. And finally, he says, why? Because he had given all of them, he had given roasted seeds. Everyone he had given roasted seeds. And so this boy was honest. He had honesty and integrity, not to, he did his efforts, but even with all of that efforts, of course, roasted seeds will not germinate. So, but he had come and with his honesty and integrity. So that's what actually was appreciated by the king, because he said, for anyone to become, before becoming a leader or in taking any responsibility, he should have this basic quality of integrity or honesty. So that's why Prabhupada is also mentioning, these people, they must have these basic essential characters in their life. If the character is missing in people's lives, then what are they going to achieve in their life? So in that sense, and recently I also, just today morning, I happened to read on shloka. It says, Veda Puranam Kavyam Cha Prabhu Mitra Priyeva Yevacha. And then Iti Bodhayanti Iti Prahu Trivrit Bhagavatam Punaha. So there it is, this is there in Bhagavata Ratnamala behind. So there it says, Vedas teach one how to be, they teach like an instructor, Vedas, and Puranas teach like a friend. And at the same time, the Kavyas, they teach just like a lover. Now, the intimacy of learning is more and it grows as it from Prabhu, Mitra, and Priyeva. And then, but it is said, Bhagavatam teaches in all these three ways. So it is so beautiful because Bhagavatam, it just does not give instructions. Bhagavatam also gives in a way at different instances, depending on our disposition. Bhagavatam can give us a message with which we can be enriched and enlightened, and at the same time we will be in a state blissfully we'll be able to follow. So that's what Bhagavatam teaches. Now, why I brought this shloka is because here Bhagavatam is also giving a message. But Bhagavatam is he gives at different instances, it gives in different forms. It gives in a way that people can become alert and they can become enlightened to follow. Because some people will not be in a position to immediately, suppose if a person takes the position of a teacher, but if another person is not in a position of a student, then the message will not sink in. So, keeping the same context today, we will also look into how Bhagavatam also teaches the same message in different contexts. It brings out the same message. But with today's purpose, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning very beautiful point. He is mentioning that how a person who is having who is lacking in character, and especially in regard to these principles which has been mentioned previously, and the four regulative principles, the four pillars of sinful life, how that can cause havoc in the life of a person. So that has been mentioned, and the most the trigger which can actually trigger a person into committing these four sinful activities is attachment to gold. So how that attachment to gold and these four sinful activities can actually create havoc in the life of a human being. So that's why human beings, especially for animals, there are no rules. But for when one gets a human body, he is also supposed to follow these. So, in regard to these four principles, especially for here it is mentioned Visheshataha. That means normal human beings or ordinary citizens, leave them apart. At least those people who are taking great positions and responsibility, and those who are having great power, and those who are influencing others, such people at least should be able to follow these four principles. They should not fall prey into breaking these four breaking these principles in their life. Otherwise, what happens? They are also becoming, because they are responsible, they will create a negative influence in the society, and they are actually taking all the people and taking them to a blind well. They are also falling, and at the same time they are taking many people also along with them. So Prabhupada in the same chapter, he in the 24th verse, the purport is very amazing. I will just read some part of the purport because it is very relevant in this connection. So Prabhupada is saying, one thing it is true that these four sinful activities had to be avoided, but the one see, this is considered to be like black zone. Everyone will understand that these four things are not at all encourageable, and any person who is found guilty of this is condemned. But there is one factor which is in between. That is attachment to money or gold. So that actually becomes the root cause because of which all these things, other things also creep in. So Prabhupada is writing a very wonderful purport in 24th verse in the same chapter. The deluding energy or the material nature can act upon the living beings proportionately in terms of the living beings falling prey to the deluding attraction of Maya. Moths are captivated by the glaring brightness of light, and thus they become prey to the fire. Similarly, the deluding energy is always captivating the conditioned souls to become prey to the fire of delusion. And the Vedic scriptures warn the conditioned souls not to become prey to delusion, but to get rid of it. So, Prabhupada is very clearly mentioning that for leaders or for those who are Raja, Kulapati, Guru, they may be in touch with Shastras, but the Maya is not just going to be silent. For these people, Maya is going to try extra hard to get them on board into committing these sinful activities. So Maya is going to try. The Maharaj mentions in one of the lectures, Maya is for conditioned souls. Maya is not so much bothered because they are already sleeping nicely in the lap of Maya. But the devotees or those who are wanting to transcend, it can be even any spiritualist, not only devotees, any spiritualist, because they are trying to wake up. As soon as a child wants to wake up, what will mother do? She will tap a little more harder so that the child is going to go to sleep peacefully. So she will tap more as soon as the child starts waking up. Similarly, Maya is going to try extra hard for those people who are wanting to get up, who are wanting to wake up from the spiritual slumber, and who are wanting to become enlightened. At that moment, she will put extra efforts to again tap in many varieties of ways. So, when she is trying in these varieties, a devotee also has to be extra cautious. If a devotee has his guards off, At that time, any time he'll become very easily, he can become a prey. So recently also there, this was a recent case, because nowadays all the business owners or CEOs of different companies, they are like almost like celebrities. They are almost like leaders, because anybody who these people, whatever they do, the common mass is actually following it. So in recent times, one company which was growing very greatly, uh, he was the founder, and this person, uh, actually he, the company had earned so much, it very, in a very short span of time, it took over the business and took over the market, and he was the main founder, and because he was actually being in that position, at any moment, if he is not self-controlled, he can misutilize the power and the influence, the opportunity which he may have. So whatever the funds he was having, he was misutilizing it for own personal purpose, and he was leading a very lavish lifestyle, taking company funds, and he would give some silly reasons and silly bills, and recently it became a very big news, and finally he was thrown out from his own company which he had founded. So that means what? These people, they may think that when everything is running according to their will, they think that I can do anything and I can escape, and they think that nobody is watching me and I can do anything. So when people are having this mentality, at that time, over a period of time, all these things will never remain closed. At one point of time, they'll all come to the light. So similarly, uh, actually there is no need to cite. There have been innumerable cases, whether it is taken in the field of politics, or whether it is in the field of business, or whether it is in the field of spirituality also. There have been so many gurus who are also involved in so many scandals. So that's why Raja, Lokapati, Guru. In all these three categories, or anybody who is taking these positions, they are all having so many scandals. So Prabhupada is mentioning in one of the conversations, Prabhupada is saying that our human society is actually divided just like a human body. There is a head, and there are arms, and then there is belly, and then there is legs. So like that, our human society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, these four varnas are actually divided. And what will happen? Suppose if the head is, Prabhupada is saying, yeah, the head must be clean. Then only it can have a clarity, and then only it can guide the other rest three. The body, everything can be engaged in the right way only when the head is functioning rightly. When the head is clean, Jai Shri Radha Nilrada Bhagavan ki Shri Gavanita ki Shri Ladavita. When the head is not working in a right order, then what can it guide to the entire body? So then what it requires is the head must be clean. So Prabhupada is saying that nowadays there are no first class beings. Only who are remaining is business class and the servant class. Those are just doing services and they're thinking of only economy. I just happened to hear economics in the name of economics also is divided in three gunas. When economics is in passion, then it is in the mode of competition, where everyone is wanting to compete with each other and want to grow. And when it is in ignorance, then it is an exploitation. When one wants to push someone else down and he wants to rise up, so that is exploitation. And only in the goodness can one be situated where one is ready to cooperate with nature and one is ready to cooperate with the other living beings in the world. We can see in current days, either it is in passion or ignorance, where one is wanting to either compete. See, if one is just competing, that means he is wanting to grow. But sometimes it is all the more, it goes much more, it sinks down. People are wanting to pull somebody else's leg so that they can rise up. So that is an ignorance. So our society is almost, our economics is almost either parallel or ignorance. Goodness means they are not, they don't have either competition. They want to cooperate and want to complement. And they value the thing, not by money. Nowadays, any product we purchase, it is valued by how much cost it is. And it doesn't, how much, what is the value, what is the worth of that object, that is not being valued. Wow. Nowadays, if you see, all the mobile phones, see, the government doesn't put the price tag, the price limit for mobile phones. But it puts price limits for all the grains. See, we can live without having mobile phone, but we cannot live without having grains. Now, all the farmers who are there, they have to, whatever, they cannot earn their profit beyond the limit. But all these people, they're selling all useless things at such a huge price, and they are becoming big, wealthiest people. And at the same time, all the other people, they are remaining in the same position. So that the full economics of the society itself is toppled. So in that sense, so the leaders must have to be sensible, and unless they are connected to Srimad Bhagavatam, and unless they are connected to some Vedic scriptures, their thought process and their actions and their behavior will not get straightened. They'll usually in the material world things naturally keep going down and down more. So if the people of the society, and unless they are being trained in these spiritual aspects, they'll never be able to come to the right standards. So Prabhupada, and then again, Prabhupada is mentioning, so what is the solution? Prabhupada is saying, the Lord himself also warns that the delivering power of material energy is too powerful to overcome. But one who completely surrenders unto the Lord can easily do so. But to surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is not very easy. Such surrender is possible. See, this is very most important. Prabhupada is saying, such surrender is possible by persons of austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. These four principles of advanced civilization were remarkable features in the age of Satya. Then Prabhupada is saying, by cultural standing, the human beings were not at all subject to the deluding energy. Such strong men of character were competent enough to get away from the clutches of Maya. So, for a person, if at all he wants to come out of these four sinful pillars, then that means we need to hold on to this strong character, and that is not usually possible unless we take shelter of Lord, especially in this Kali Yuga. And we can see, as soon as we start going away from association, our all negative qualities start surfacing in our consciousness and start surfacing in our behavior actions. So we are just protected being in association. In Kali Yuga, there is no more bigger strength than being in a right association. So unless we choose to be in a right association, it is very difficult to stay strong. So, and usually in Kali Yuga, we are all very weak in terms of our determination to stay strong. So the only thing, our hope is being in association, and especially in association also doing the right things, or sticking to right principles in life. So then we will be actually saved. So this is one instance of we are being taught how we can remain strong in our spiritual principles. Now, this is one instance where Bhagavatam is teaching us where we can have a strong character. This is one instance. Now, we just heard at that time there are three ways that Bhagavatam teaches. One, it teaches by just like a teacher, another by a friend, another by just like a lover. So, because the one instruction which is taught like a teacher, usually it is very grave message,
and it is taught in a very authoritarian way. That's how teacher teaches. Now, how does a friend teach? Friend doesn't teach like if you see the Puranas teach by means of some just like it doesn't teach in the authoritarian way, but it teaches in a very friendly way. And at the same time, the kavyas they teach in a very pleasing way. Now, I would like to ask you, this comes in which one of the ways? Bhagavatam now in this context, Bhagavatam is teaching in what way? It is instruction. So Bhagavatam now it is teaching like a very instructive way. Now, if either you do this and you will be saved, or you don't follow this and you get into wrong track and you will fall away. So that's why Bhagavatam is teaching in a very authoritarian way. And any other instance where Bhagavatam teaches in a very in the similar context of for a person to one more instructive way, I will just give an example. Bhagavatam is teaching in the 5th canto, where Rishabdev is teaching to his sons. Guru na sasyat, sajano na sasyat, pita na sasyat, janani na sasyat. After that, Daivam na tatsya na patishya sasyam, namo chayedya samupetam mrityum. There it is saying how a public leader, a guru, how father, mother, or a relative don't take the position unless one is able to deliver them from the clutches. So this is one instance where another Bhagavatam is teaching in an instructive tone. Okay, any other way where Bhagavatam is teaching in a friendly tone? Sure. I was also thinking the same. Both of you also said the same. Actually, really, because Prachina, when he was a king, and Narada Muni is a sage who is entering into the kingdom. At that moment, there is, though surely Prachina he would have revered very much Narada Muni, but Narada Muni felt his message would be much more. It will sink down his heart if it is not just instructive, but if I can narrate it like a friend. So if you see throughout the instances, he was just narrating the entire. He was giving a very strong message, but he gave it in a way that Prachina he could actually digest it. So he gave it through an allegory. He gave 2 allegories. One is of King Puranjan, another is of the deer. So in these 2 allegories, he gave a very strong message, but he gave in a very friendly tone. So that is one. And now, any instance where Bhagavatam gave a similar message through Kavya. Ailageet. So Ailageet and Pingala, the song of Pingala. So all these are like instances where Bhagavatam gives a message of having the material, because King Pururava also, though he was a king, he became attached to Urvashi. So because now the scandals which happen for a sannyasi or a king, the majority of the scandals they are happening through an illicit affair. So there have been innumerable cases. So Pururava was also in that direction. So, but at the same time, he is not an ordinary king. He had actually personally took darshan of Supreme Lord also. So when he composes a very beautiful poem as to how one should get over this attachment. So he has written very. So like that, Bhagavatam actually teaches a similar message in different tones also. So and the devotees at different moods, when we are in different situations, we can learn the same message given in different tone. but ultimately learn the lesson somehow or the other. So that's what is the final conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is my some thoughts. So kindly other devotees once again ahead. Anybody would like to add? Prabhu, would you like to share something? This connection.
You said most of the business and politicians are either ignorant or passion. Proper government would our society to be guiding people for all the society.
Yeah.
Out of that passion. Because our
Responsibility.
our
Yeah. And actually, this is a. I also would like to pray to all the devotees so that when we are so as we are growing also naturally we become as number of years grow naturally when we become seniors. So naturally many things responsibilities come and many other devotees also consider though our words may be broken words, many people may consider it seriously. So because that responsibility naturally comes, so it also holds that we rise up in our standard. So I would like to request all the devotees also to pray and bless, so that whatever I spoke also I will be able to live up to, and whatever prayers and blessings we will be able to actually follow. Otherwise, Maya is very strong. Huh? Shri Prabhupada ki